Hey, Caleb.
Man,
How
thanks
are
for
you?
coming by. This is where my wife and I stay during the summer when we work on Liberty Mountain.
Well, I love visiting your summer home.
Yeah, so this is a great place. This is the Colonel Hambright homestead.
Right.
Colonel Hambright was a leading commander at the actual Battle of Kings Mountain, and his story is incredible. And it's when you walk on these boards and you can feel the spirit of the revolution, I think, in this place. It's cool.
Oh, what a treat. Can't help but to imagine this helps you get your mind into the spirit of the play you're directing.
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic.
I met Caleb when he was about 10 years old. He was in one of my plays in Lenore. And I was quite taken with his performance on stage. And I told him after the play, I said, now I have another role for you when you get a little bit older. Well, about 7 years after that, he was in Dairy Queen Days at the same theater. And I've just followed Caleb all along because I sensed right from the get-go that he was a special person and that he was passionate about theater. So I've just followed his career. I consider him one of my best friends, and I have learned an awful lot from him about theater. Watching him work makes me a better playwright. And I think we're a pretty good team. You know, we talk about script and we talk about casting and everything. But Caleb is the most complete theater person I know. And to be that and to be as young as he is just, it's incredible.
Yeah, let's talk about Liberty Mountain. Let's talk about the play.
Sure.
How you became involved.
Well, through Bob Inman, we had worked on one of his plays when I was very young, and he met me and we just became lunch buddies. And one day he said, I'm working on this play in Kings Mountain, are you interested? And at the time I was working on a Revolutionary War drama in Boone, Horn in the West.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm familiar with the Battle of Kings Mountain and I'd love to talk more. And we met with the folks here in town and we hit it off and it just became a thing.
There was a group here in Kings Mountain several years ago who were interested in reviving the story on stage. There had been a production back in the 1950s that included the Battle of Kings Mountain, but they wanted a modern version. So they were actually at this theater doing one of my other plays. And they liked it and liked my work, and so they asked me if I would be interested in writing a play about the Battle of Kings Mountain, and that's how it started. A very dedicated group of local citizens interested in their history, dedicated to their community, wanted to preserve this and let future generations know how important it was and what it means to this community.
Caleb, you have a lot of responsibility in bringing this performance to life. But you're not alone. Your wife also participates.
Yeah.
Tell us about the wardrobe and how she's bringing that to life.
Being able to work with my wife is the coolest thing ever. So many people don't get to work with their spouse. They come home and say, what did you do today? Well, we know because we spend the whole day together. And she's really a brilliant genius at what she does with weaving fabric to tell a story. Her team, they've worked together to handcraft a ton of costume pieces for this show. Hunting frocks, leggings that are wrapped around historically accurate, they're called gaiters. These are things that I never even knew before. And so she's researched tirelessly and sewed her fingers to the bone several times just working to make this show come to life. But when you see everyone on stage together, she's really painted a beautiful picture through clothing, and it's all historically accurate. It's breathtaking to see.
Tell me about the weapons, the guns and the knives. Who handles all that?
Sure, so we have a whole team that works with the weaponry during the show. We work indoors, and so it's incredibly important for the safety of our performers and our audience that we make sure we cross all of our T's and dot our I's. And so all of the people that work with weaponry, this is what they've trained in, it's what they're passionate about, and we have very strict procedures as to how firearms are handled, especially indoors. But we work with muskets. We actually have some shotguns that have been dressed up to look like a musket that you might see during 1780, and these ensure safety and clear firing lanes. We work each battle scene, we run it before the audience even comes in. This is called a fight call, and that's run by our fight captain, who's one of my friends, and He's certified through the Society of American Fight Directors. It's what he does. And then we have a weapons supervisor. Her responsibility is cleaning all of the weaponry, making sure that it's able to be handled properly, that it's in proper working condition, and that the actors feel safe with what's been given to them.
I wanted this to be more than just about the Battle of Kings Mountain. I want people to know the personal stories of the people who settled the Carolinas and how they got drawn into the conflict. So many of these were Scots-Irish. They emigrated by the thousands from Northern Ireland in the 1700s. And many of them settling in the South, they didn't want to get caught up in the Revolutionary War, but it came to their doorsteps in very savage ways. And they took up arms and joined the battle. We look into the lives of several of these families. We look at the choices, the hard choices that they had to make. And I think you really come away from this with a sense of what it meant to settle the Carolinas in the 1700s and to be caught up in the Revolution and to defend your liberties.
When you're sitting here at night looking at your notes or looking at your iPad, what's going through your mind?
I grew up an only child in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I spent every day out in the backyard playing, using my imagination, climbing in a cardboard box. It was a spaceship, a rocket ship, a train. And so many times, whenever I'm working on bringing a play to life and working through scene work or paperwork, I just allow my imagination to run wild. Whenever Bob and I were first working on this play, he said, "What do you think is actually possible to do?" And I said, "I think that we can do anything." And we sure do. We bring it to life on stage. But it's great and we ask the audience to use their imagination as well, to travel with us. And within an hour's time, we've transported them on top of the Battle of Kings Mountain.
Liberty Mountain is one of the most satisfying, creative processes that I have ever been involved in. Every year we bring in a new cast and crew and create this larger-than-life thing and entertain audiences. And we give a gift to the audiences and they give a gift back to us. And being able to do that, to tell this important story, to work around such wonderful, creative people in the company, that's a very satisfying thing. And here toward probably nearing the end of my writing career, to have this happen and to be involved in this is just one of the most satisfying things in the world.